for all the reusables you are keeping in circulation as well. I don't think I need to tell this group this, but obviously climate change is a huge problem. And just specifically in the business context, 96% of young workers really want their companies to do more in terms of sustainability, and they're actually really demanding it, which hopefully will, be useful for us in this kind of administration and climate, no pun intended, that we're in right now. And 75% of CEOs recognize the need to prioritize sustainability, but only 30% are making significant progress. And then since Redish is focused primarily in food service, I just want to talk a minute about how much waste that industry specifically produces. So there's really no single-use items that are, particularly good or better for the environment, and that's because the waste is always whatever is produced is taking up resources to actually make that item, and then it's also ending up in a landfill or ending up in a compost. In most cases, compostable packaging, as most of you probably know, is unfortunately not ending up in a compost bin. It's ending up in a landfill anyway. And with over a billion single-use food service items used each year in the US, this is like a huge problem that we need to attack, and which is why Redish exists today. So reusables in general present a really unique opportunity, the most obvious being waste reduction. So you're significantly reducing the amount of waste that is produced and then lowers the expenses related to the waste disposal. This is also a really great way. So Redish is used in primarily corporate cafeterias, in some schools, some universities, and then of course in one-off events, which I'll get to. But it's a great way for employees to, for leadership really to show employees something that they're doing that's really tangible and give them a way to interact with a reusable and something that's sustainable every single day and improve their workplace culture. It's measurable, so you can have quantifiable impact data associated with this, like diversion from landfill, CO2 avoided, and water savings. And then it's, of course, reinforcing your company's kind of commitment to sustainability and hopefully retaining those employees that really value that. So we are a full service scalable reuse solution. So it's very simple. We kind of operate like a linen service. We deliver the goods to the end client. End client uses those reusables as they would any other single use item. Um, we have designated redish bins that are either repurposed from internal bins that our clients have, or we provide them with bins that they can rent from us. They're collected into one kind of large aggregate entity that we have for the clients that we provide as well in their usually their loading dock or some other designated area. Our drivers will go pick them up every morning and then deliver fresh inventory for reuse, and everything is circulated back. And we have a state-of-the-art warewashing facility where we wash all of these goods at high temperatures. And we had it custom made from a company in Germany, I believe. And just kind of some shout outs here and quick facts about Redish, how scalable. We've been around since 2020. Um, just some kind of mentions. We were a winner of Most Innovative Reuse Company for the Reusies a couple of years ago. We are a woman-owned company. We operate in 3 markets right now in Brooklyn, New York, and the Brooklyn Army Terminal in Philadelphia, and then Boston as well. And then just some kind of newsworthy mentions we've had recently here. Okay, so specifically talking about Regis at events. So the way this works is, again, very similar to what I explained, but in a situation where any of the events that any of you are working on, if you're not doing it at, let's say, a Marriott hotel where it's a more high-end event and they have, China and durables and they have their own washing facility infrastructure already there, you might have an event that's maybe it's a festival or an outdoor or it's a private event or it's even a concert or a convention, a conference, sorry, conference or convention, sporting, anywhere really food and drink is served at scale and you don't have access to the durables, we are having to rely on single use or compostables. So Redish is a kind of a great alternative to that because it's all made of reusable polypropylene. So it's lightweight, it's easy to transport, but it's still durable enough that your users know that it is actually in fact reusable. And then of course we have the impact metrics that go along with that. So I really just kind of explained the process there. And then another great thing about Redish is some of our clients use our wares, which you can see in these pictures here. So we have plates, we have cups, we have clamshells. We're working on a couple of other different SKUs. We have about a dozen different SKUs right now. But we also can wash any third-party wares or reusable. So we just did an event for an experiential agency over the summer. They had a client that had some glassware that had their logo etched into the bottom of the glasses, and they had 3 or 4 events in the New York area where they demanded to use those glasswares, but there was nowhere to wash them. So kind of like a unique opportunity for us with that, but I feel like there's kind of more where that comes from, where you might want something a little bit more elevated and you don't want to go through a full rental of durables or china. So we can wash any type of wares for you as well. A lot of our K through 12 schools do that too. They don't necessarily want to use our reusables, but they purchase, let's say, like a 3 compartment tray for the students to use in the cafeteria, and we just collect and wash those trays and return it to them. So a lot of different use cases, but in the crux of it, we are, a reusable warewashing facility to fulfill all those needs. So really, again, like the advantages here at the events is, of course, the data and all the inventory management, the impact dashboard, all of the data that you'll get from the waste reduction, carbon emissions, water savings. I actually developed the Redish events program since I started here. I started in 2021, so I've been here almost since the beginning. I work on the client services side, but my role has kind of evolved into events because that's part of my past experience. So I've really learned along the way and just all the events that we've served at that we really need to make it like a soup to nuts, full service, as seamless and easy as possible. So we can provide staffing, we provide the signage, we provide the return bins that are branded for where to return your reusables. I have a handbook that I've developed where I'll go over it with the proper event management and staff with talking points and really everything that you need to put on a successful event and also be mindful to the environment. And then lastly, it really does elevate the brand perception associated with events, just kind of really honoring and demonstrating the commitment to sustainability rather than making it an afterthought. I've talked a lot about the impact. We do have a proprietary dashboard that we name Dish Track. So that's where our clients will have access to all of the inventory and the environmental impacts. And that's it. I do have a couple of slides here in the appendix if anybody has questions about like our sanitation process. And then of course we have an LCA on all of our items. So I would say the only kind of downside of using your own reusables is that unless you have an LCA on them, we can't necessarily give you the same kind of impact numbers. Otherwise, with our products, we've done it down to the SKU level. But otherwise, if anybody has any questions, I'm open to that. Thanks for listening.